Well, I hope you can hear me. It's election day and it's also talking points day. As you can see in the house with Darius 3K, we're going to talk all things grey, hazy, sunshine. You know the score. And as well as that, the score of the music is what I've got to play now. So, Paxton Road TV, PRTV Spurs, talking points number 133. Hello, I'm Sam Spurs for Life and welcome to Paxton Road TV, PRTV Spurs. This is your episode number 133 of Talking Points in the house. Joining me today is one and only Darius 3K. We are expecting to have Sid says, Mr. Sid, Ark Sid, whatever you want to call him, he should be joining us very soon, hopefully. But I thought, let's do a show. Why not? We've got a new signing in the house. Archie Gray, I do believe. I don't know much about him. That's why I'm saying I do believe. But I think he's been signed up. 18-year-old from Leeds. Midfielder by trade, playing right back last season. And there's plenty to talk about. Is this the right thing for Spurs? Is this the way to go? An 18-year-old just turned 18 in March. Is this going to move the dial for us to win the league? As Dan said, no. I don't know we're not going to win the league next season. There's a chance we could. But a bigger chance that we won't. Title of the show, it's a grey day or hazy sunshine at the lane. I think you all know that I like to do a little bit of play on words. Darius, welcome to the show. How are you doing? How's things going? And yeah, I hope you've got some information for us as you are the expert on young players from Championship abroad. What do you know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. I've just realized my Yeti mic has just fallen out, so I don't know if the quality of the mic is any good right now. But
no, can hear it perfectly fine.
Yeah, to be fair with you, I'm pretty excited. I've been a little bit skeptical with the business and the dealings as of late, but you know what? I'll hold my hands up and say I did not watch Archie Gray last season. It was his first season in professional men's football, and I will have to say he was absolutely he astounded me when I watched some of the highlights. But you know what we say about highlights. So for me personally, I think we've signed a gem here, not for a cheap price at all, but I definitely think we've gotten ahead of competition as Brentford, were linked with him. And I personally do think that given time and given the right development, he can become that defensive midfielder that we've always been looking for. And, certain players might have to consider their career somewhere else. I do think that this kid could be special. So he's only 18. He is very, very young. But, I mean, yeah, he's got the credentials and most importantly, he's got the profile to be able to play in that position that we are so craving at the moment. So I'm really excited. I think he looks like a stunning buy.
Cool. Well, we got to do some housekeeping before we get into the stream. Firstly, if the stream is slightly lagging, apologies for that. There's a little bit of interference, bit of problems with Sky as per usual. Trying to sort that out. We're just trying to see how we can do these streamers with a bit more quality. But yeah, bear with us on that one. If it does go down, obviously we can try and sort that out in the background. And also make sure you like, subscribe to the channel. It helps us out massively. We are going to be transferring to PRTV Spurs as of the 1st of August. So make sure you're aware of that. Paxton Road TV will only exist as a library of old stuff, but all new will be on PRTV Spurs. Okay, Archie Gray. We may as well share what we've got here and just read about him. I guess that's a good way to start with this guy, the youngster boy, whatever you want to call him, young man. I don't like to call him a boy because he's a young man, so let's not be disrespectful to that. Archie Gray, here we go. Share the screen. Okay, here's what it looks like. Great deal agreed a couple of days ago. We are delighted to announce the signing of Archie Gray from Leeds. The versatile midfielder has signed a contract that will run until 2030. Long contract, Darius, long contract. And will wear the number 14 shirt. Born in Durham, actually joined Leeds at under 9 level after progressing well through their academies. Picks up his first involvement with their first team in 2021, age of just 15, when he was part of the match day squad in the Premier League. After winning a promotion with Leeds under 21s at the end of 2020-23 season, he made his senior competitive debut on the opening day of last season. EFL Championship campaign has starred throughout last term in central midfield and at right back. That's when our friend Jed Spence got injured. Making 52 appearances in all competitions as Leeds reached the playoff final at Wembley, his performances led him to being named Championship Young Player of the Season. And there is Archie Gray. I'm not going to press play on that because copyright and YouTube don't like all that stuff. But talk to me, Darius. The player himself, 18, good reputation. Did I mention Championship Player of the Year? Was that right?
You did say that. You did say that at the end.
So that's impressive in terms of stats. However, my caveat to that was Oliver Skipp was also Championship Player of the Year at Norwich when he played for them on loan. So I'm not saying it's not a.
He was their personal player of the season. He wasn't actually the Championship Player of the season. So he was the best player for Norwich. They're saying that at 17 years old, because the majority of the season he played, he was 17. At 17 years old in his first professional season, he was the best young player in the entirety of the Championship. So slightly different awards, but I hear where you're coming from.
Okay, so I'll lead my thoughts and conversations. Okay, so bearing in mind what I've said about at the end of last season, I mentioned the word TW, as we know about that. A trigger warning for those who don't know what that means. Timo Werner has signed on a big long contract. Wasn't too happy. And I did say from that point, let's see what these signings are going to be like. I'm not going to make any judgment about certain players apart from him because I know what he's like until we get into the season. So we're now getting an 18-year-old. We've already got another 18-year-old on the way in Lucas Bergville, who will be coming to Spurs at this beginning of the season. And then next season, I keep forgetting the defender's name, but he's 16/17 and will be coming to Spurs. So there looks like
Vuskovic,
that's all right. There looks like there is a clear direction which Spurs are going. Now, my concern is that with young players, they're young. that's a given. And there's always going to be ups and downs, as there will be with any player. And I believe that if you are going to introduce young players into teams, you need to have good professionals, experienced professionals around you that are going to support that. Now, the mentality of some of our Spurs players leaves a bit to be desired. But again, Ange, as the manager, is now down to instill that and hopefully improve all of that. But 18. Do we expect an 18-year-old? Darius has just popped offline as well. Oh, 1 second, people, because we've got lots of stuff going on. Sid Spurs is ringing. I'm going to go on live to Spid as well whilst you're on here. Sid, you're actually on live on screen. What's going on?
Mate, I went to vote in it and they fucking took me off the election. I can't vote.
You can. I think everybody can hear you. Sid's been to vote, people, and they've took him off the ballot. What are you saying then?
I can't vote.
Oh dear. Well, come onto the stream and then let's talk football instead.
I'm coming.
All right then. I shall see you very soon. I'm live. As you can see, it's great when you're live. So I'm back on my own now. So again, my concerns: 18-year-olds to move the dial. And just said in various press conferences and alluded to the fact that he wants to challenge. Now, whether that's a loose term, challenge for the title next season. We may have taken that a bit too. What's the word? A bit too like legitimately saying that those sort of things. He's going to win a championship, Premier League, should I say? I can't see it now. An 18-year-old Archie Gray, potential bags of it. I look forward to seeing him play. I really do. I look forward to seeing whether this guy, based on the fact that he is Championship Player of the Season, will contribute to Spurs. Now, I don't know what his best position is. Is it a midfielder? Is it a 6? Is it an 8? He's been playing at right back. That shows versatility. But I really think when you get to this sort of level of football, not to say it has to be a given, but younger players tend to have a bit more versatility because they're not always finding their positions until later on. But the way football's going, you tend to want to get specialists in a position. We need a specialist number 6. Do you think Archie's going to be a starter in this team, Darius? And do you think he's going to be a midfielder? Or do you think he's a backup to Porro? Or do you think he's going to get ahead of Porro? Or is it just a case of he can fill a number of positions and it's good to have that versatility?
I think it's a number of things. I think you're not going to spend £35 million on an 18-year-old for him to just play a few games here and there. For me, it's a lot of money to spend on a player regardless if you're not going to start him. I mean, you look at the likes of Udoji, you look at the likes of Porro was 45, Van de Ven was 45, Udoji was about what? Was he 30, around 30, or was he cheaper than that? Basuma was 25.
25.
So
before you continue, you've just got to add, hasn't been here for a little while, and here he's joined us back. Mr. Hurl, how are we doing?
All right. I was just worried that you were on your own this.
This internet is awful. This internet is honestly so bad.
Yeah, I can come off and let Sid back in, and then. But I was just worried that you were just singing to the choir.
I would have kept on singing to the choir to myself because that's what I do most of the time in my life anyway. But no, thank you for that. You can stay on. Of course, you're welcome to stay on. Sid is on his way. He had a problem voting. And the problem I had voting is I'm not voting. So sorry for people that.
My problem was that my postal vote turned up so late that I had to go and hand deliver it to the polling booth today. So.
Here we go. Listen, people. We're all here. We're in the house. Sid Spurs, Sean Hurl, Darius 3K, everybody's in. Again, apologies if internet connections are a little bit crackers. That's down to me. There's a bit of a conflict in my household. Right, we're on the subject. New signing. Again, I want to say on record, I am not making any judgment about the player himself. I don't know him personally. I don't know, having not watched Leeds last season, I don't know what he's like from watching a 90-minute game. I only got what everybody else has probably got as YouTube highlights, unless you have been following Leeds. His YouTube highlights look good. There are certain aspects of his game that do impress me. His physicality, his height. Obviously, for a player who's just turned 18, that's some good fundamentals to have. The versatility that I've mentioned already, plays midfielder, can play right back, has played on the left as well. So does have that going for him. Do you think this is an Ange signing? I believe it must be. Ange has said that he has the final say in all these players. I can see why Spurs would have wanted to get this player. But he was going to Brentford. He wasn't actually coming to us until we actually got the sniff that Brentford weren't going to be able to complete this deal. He was on the radar. Is this just a kind of a knee-jerk reaction because Brentford missed out and we wanted to jump in? Or have they been tracking this guy for a number of years? Because, as I said, in this system, you know about these players from the ages of, like you said, he's been in the system since under 9. So they would have been tracking him, I guess, 13 to or whatever it is. Is this a knee-jerk signing? Is this something that's going to move the dial for us? I'll start with you, Sid, then work our way around Sean, Darius after that. Have your say.
I think Ange obviously will have the final say because they've got this list already set up, haven't they? And he's probably one of the players that he's wanted. He's young, he's versatile, like you've said, and there's a lot of hot things around him. I believe Brentford was the only team that put a bid in. However, I believe Liverpool, Man United, and Borussia Dortmund have been tracking him, and they've had people watching him play as well. So it seems like the first team to put a bid in was Brentford, and then Spurs have come in. And obviously, we had this discussion, and Sean texted me yesterday as well. And as soon as Postecoglou come into the equation, him being a Leeds fan, I think it was a no-brainer, literally a no-brainer. I did watch quite a lot of him last season, including the playoffs, semi-final and everything. And he does look like a player. And Leeds fans will probably be very, very upset because he was a very, very fan favourite. Obviously, coming from a family of Greys that have played for Leeds United, so Eddie Gray, Frank Gray, and all them lot. So it'd probably be heartbreaking for Leeds fans to see such a young potential player leave. But his interview says it all. As soon as he heard Postecoglou wanted him, and he's a Celtic fan, it was a no-brainer. So I just hope now that, obviously, because of what we've got next season in the Europa League and everything, he gets to play, because he can play right back, left back. He's a number 6 stroke, a number 8 as well. So it's going to be very, very interesting, and it's a promising player for the future.
Darius, as a player who's 18, it costs 40 million. I think you've mentioned it in terms of teenagers, one of the most expensive signings in recent memory, certainly for us for this type of age. Again, you look at over the years of inflation, all the rest of it, prices go up. So I'm not putting too much emphasis on the fact that he costs 40 million. However, 40 million out of a budget potentially of 150 million. Let's say that's what we've got. It might be even less. We've already spent a significant amount on the wages of players, and that has to be taken into consideration as well. Is this a value signing? Are we looking to do this for the future? Is the player going to be able to develop, or have we got another Jack Clark on our hands?
Nah, I'm honest with you. I may be getting out of hand, but I do think this player is a player for now. I don't think he is a player for the future. I really think age doesn't matter. When it comes to the quality of player and what we need in this team, this kid, if he starts hot, and I'm not expecting him to start. I'm not expecting him to start the season. But if he comes on and makes an impact, this kid's going to be playing from early. I really, really do believe that. Ange Postecoglou doesn't care about age, and I really do agree with that, because if the player is good enough, the player is good enough. It doesn't really matter how old he is. I know it's pressure, and I understand that, but the environment that we've created within Tottenham, you can see that the young players are like, Van de Ven said it many times last season. Postecoglou doesn't necessarily care. I'm not going to say care, but if you make a mistake, he encourages you to continue doing what we're doing. So these players are going to be able to develop in the best possible way under him, I do believe. And if you just strictly look at the quality of the player and what we need in that DM position, his close control is incredible. His physicality is incredible. He makes 2.1 tackles a game. For me, that's going to improve our defense, because it's going to alleviate so much pressure from those two centre-backs, because you've got somebody in front who's able to clean up as well. Again, you mentioned the right back, and I also think that's a great thing to do as well, because if Porro, who hasn't had adequate backup last season, if Porro gets injured, the way we play, he's basically going to be playing quite a similar position anyway, in a way, because he'll be coming into that midfield and sort of filling spaces there. So for me, when you look at the player profile, when you look at the manager that we have, and you look at the system that we play, he is perfect for this system. I really do believe that. And I do think when you come from a lineage of football players, professional football players who, are to Leeds fans are considered legends. I mean, I can't remember which one it is, Frank or Eddie, but one of them has been caretaker manager,
Eddie.
Assistant manager, things like that. One of them played his entire career there. So when you come from that sort of professional lineage, I just think everything's set up for this kid to do well. I think he's got a brother who he claims is just as good as him as well. I think for me, I think it's a no-brainer. I really do believe that as soon as Tottenham, because Tottenham, when Brentford made that, when it was on in the tabloids and whatever, saying that Brentford had the medical, whatever, I think it was done. But there was payment structure issues, and we had the obviously lucky hand of having Joe Rodon to give to them as well on that side of the deal as well. So I think sort of those things made Tottenham a little bit more desirable for Leeds to sell to and for Archie Gray to go to. So I just think it's a whirlwind of things that's fallen into our hands quite well. And I think we've gotten very lucky. But I also think Johan Lange had been looking at Archie Gray for a few months before anyway. So whether this is a planned, signing, whether this is a club signing, an Ange Postecoglou signing, it doesn't really matter because it works. So I'm kind of happy just to see how he's going to develop. And I really do think he is going to become this. It was his first season last season at 17 to play 40 games, start 44 games and start 40 of them, to get thrown into a second position that you haven't played before, and to still be the best young player in the Championship. That's special. Knowing that, players like Elise, Eze, all those players have come from the Championship. I think we've got a really, really special player on our hands.
We'll come back to those other players that you just mentioned regarding players that's come up from the Championship. But Sean, how excited are you about this sign? I saw you nodding with regards to what Darius is saying, and I want to get what your feelings are.
Yeah, we've got ourselves a little rough diamond here. I think he's the potential to be a starter from day one. I think he's a great player, and this is where we've played our trump card, as Darius and Sid have indicated. The Greys, although they're Leeds royalty, they're Scottish. They're big Celtic fans. They obviously saw what Postecoglou did up here with Celtic, and as Darius has indicated, it looked like a done deal. Thomas Frank and the sporting director of Brentford had done a really brilliant presentation. He was left I think it was last Saturday night for him to say, make your final decision. And it was just overnight. He just, and this is probably where the Zoom call comes in. He sits down face to face with Postecoglou, and Postecoglou says, well, this is what I see you're going to do. This is where I can see I need to improve you. This is where, this is where you'll fit into me. We're playing Europe. We're going to have more games. You can play as right back, which I need, because Porro was running on empty at the back of the end of the last season. That was known. There was no coincidence we started losing games when our fullback was knackered. So he sees that as a potential. I beg you, go and watch if you can get hold of extended highlights of the Chelsea Leeds FA Cup tie from last year, and you'll see what a player he was. I'm very, very, very excited. As I said in my comment up above, we now live in an era of Lamine Yamal, 16-year-old tearing it up in Euros. 18-year-old, I'm more than happy for having him at our squad, and it's rejuvenating our squad. It's overdue. There's lots of players going out, and I think I predicted a year we'll have him up there in the Mickey Van der Ven's kind of levels. I think it would be that good for us.
Potential is always good to have, and like I said, from what I've seen of clips, he looks like a very talented player. But we do need to have what am I looking for? There needs to be an output in terms of what's the output. If he's going to be playing a 6, you want to see what his defensive stats are like. Obviously, passing stats, all the rest of it. It doesn't look like he's going to be put in a position where we're going to need to get assists and goals out of him, unless, of course, you're playing him right back. If you're going to be playing him right back, then I would expect to have these sort of stats to go with. I don't know if Derek, because you were talking about the stats from last season, and if you played, was it 25 games plus at right back? Depending on the Leeds system, I assume that Leeds were playing very attacking last year. I haven't watched them, so I don't know. This is why I'm only making summations here, that he was getting forward quite a lot. Is there any stats to back up from an assist perspective, crossing, beating a man, 1v1s? Is there anything that you've got that you might want to share with us? As I said, I seen the Leeds Chelsea game, and he's beating players. He's beating players for fun. He's looking like he's linking up, making these like short passes and all the rest of it. But for me, we need, if he's going to be playing, depending on where he's going to be playing. If he's playing a number 6, I don't expect him, as I said, to be getting forward and scoring a load of goals. If he's playing 8, we need to have goals from midfield, because goals need to be shared around in this team. And if you're playing as a fullback in our team, we know that fullbacks don't necessarily play out wide all the time. They're going to be inverted. So one of the positive things from that is, because he's played midfield, or he predominantly calls himself a midfielder, that transition from a right back into that inverted should be even better. I don't think Leeds played that style last year. I don't know, but I'm only making, again, assumptions. But if he can play that way as a midfielder and be able to do it at right back, then that's all positives. But what's wrong with our youngsters that we've got currently? Because if he was a youngster at Spurs, you've got a guy that's just turned 18 in March. All these other youngsters that have been at Spurs, who've had opportunities, or haven't had opportunities, should I say.
I'm not giving a youngster an opportunity for the sake of giving a youngster an opportunity.
So my point then, my point then is he good enough? Is he good enough to play next season ahead of Bentancur, if it's going to be the case, ahead of Basuma, if that's going to be the case, ahead of Skip, ahead of Sarr.
Maybe even. I think there's competition. Put it like this. Let's break it down. For me, if we're signing him as a right back, we've lost our minds. He should be as a right back if Porro is not fit, if he needs a break, he can cover that position. He should be bought to be played and to start and solidify that defensive midfield, deep line, whatever you want to call it, so 6, whatever you want to call it, defensive midfield, behind the 2 8s that we play. For me, if he continues the way he plays, i.e. he's good as one-touch play, he can keep the ball close, he can break presses, he can win the ball back, he can tackle, he will. And for me, there's only Basuma and Bentancur who are really playing that role. And Bentancur kind of plays higher anyway. Højbjerg, I assume, is going to leave at the end of the Euros. He only has competition with Basuma, who wasn't that good last season. He was not that good apart from the first 6-7 games of the season. So the competition isn't that drastic. And we're not paying 40 million euros for a right back. He's not going to displace Porro. Porro is our starting right back. And you're not paying 40 million for a backup right back. So he's starting in that midfield role. And like Sean said, if Ange Postecoglou thinks he can do a better job and facilitate better than Basuma can, he probably will start him in August in the first game. But for me, I won't be surprised if he doesn't. But I won't be surprised if he's starting by September. Put it like that. I really won't be.
He's a generational talent, this guy. He's and I think he will. He's. Do you know what? Who's needed the, pick up the backside? And we just said it. Basuma. Basuma has had it easy. He got picked week in and week out, and sometimes he spanked the place out, particularly after those first 12 games. So I think he now know. He should now know that he's got this kid who's, a generational talent, an absolute diamond of a player, who's got lungs to, but he's quick. If I was Basuma, I would be worried because I think this is the replacement for him, and the more I keep seeing Basuma at fashion shows, then the more I keep thinking, you ain't doing it, mate. You ain't doing it. You've got to concentrate on your game, and I think. I salute this signing. I think it's a brilliant signing, and he wants. This is the key season for Ange to get his believers in, and I tell you what, the younger you are, the more you're going to believe in.
Let me also preface though, this isn't just it. This doesn't put us in any sort of better position. But what I will say is these sort of signings we've missed in the past, and they've gone on to do very well in the Premier League. I think Adam Wharton's another good example. The kid at Bournemouth, Alex Scott's another good example. These players all come from the Championship, are very, very good Premier League players. I really do believe this kid is on that level, if not better. And I've not.
Can I just ask then one question? But you can continue on this. Of the top 6 teams, which young players of this sort of age from the Championship have integrated and done well?
Harvey Elliott.
So, for who?
Liverpool. He was at Fulham, wasn't he? Think about all the Chelsea players. Mason Mount was playing at Derby when he was on loan. He was the best player at Derby. He came into the team. There's loads of players you could go through.
In terms of top 6,
who was at Crystal Palace.
The only reason I'm asking that,
no, not Wan-Bissaka. Sorry, not Wan-Bissaka.
The only reason I'm asking that is in recent memory for the top 6 teams to move because I'm looking for us to move the dial. I'm looking for us to move. I'm confused as to, are we going for things now, or as part of this, because I do know it's a part of a rebuild, are we planning this for a 3 to 4, 5 year future? If that's the case, I want somebody to come out and say so. If that's the manager, what I don't want to be able to have to do is think, right, this is a player that we're going to be using that's going to give us success next season. We might get success next season, but if I was thinking logically, based on Spurs' history of young players, based on young players' history in general, and based on the mentality that's currently within our squad, I don't think we've got a winning mentality within enough players within our squad that you can bring youngsters in and have them just transition very easily. I think it's going to be a difficult transition. personally. That's where the manager comes in.
So why did Van de Ven, why did Udogie come in and do see? It's a different time at Tottenham now. I don't think you can compare managers like Mourinho, Conte, who refuse to play young players, with a man who literally brought in a 21-year-old, a 19-year-old, and is starting, and they are now solidified starters in our team. Brennan Johnson's 22. Again, the track history is positive for me with Ange Postecoglou. He has improved. Don't get me wrong. If people wanna comment on Brennan Johnson's season, 4 goals and 11 assists is a good season. I don't care what anybody says. For your first season at Tottenham Hotspur, that's a very good season. Third highest assist provider in the league. Udogie had a great season. Van de Ven was our player of the season last season. And for me, that is as a result of the coaching of Ange Postecoglou. They are all great players, don't get me wrong, but the reason that they struggled is because of the system. And I can comment on Ange's tactics if I want to. That's me personally. I can say he could drop the line deep or whatever, but he has made those players better. He has developed those players into good young players, and that's why I do believe this kid coming in, again, he's the 4th most expensive 18-year-old of all time behind Rodrigo, Endrick, and Vinicius. We're not spending this money to have him sit on the bench. And I think, again, like I said, the professional lineage that he comes from, I don't think he will struggle as much as, maybe the normal player. I think that having that, his uncle, his dad, his grandfather, like all of the professional players, I think that's going to do a lot for him to settle in and develop really, really well.
What's your thoughts on
I understand, Sam, you're concerned about, the squad, but he's going to be playing in the squad with a World Cup winner as a centre-back. He's going to be playing with the captain of South Korea and Asia's #1 player. He's going to be playing with some very, very experienced players. It won't all fall on him. He's going to get better. He's going to get better. As Darius said, look what Ange's done for some of those players. He does improve players. And I think, he's I have no doubt about this signing. I really don't have any doubt about this signing. I think it's a really good signing. It's the sort of signing that we should have done in the past. We bought Jack Clark when we were in for Jared Bowen.
And Jack Clark also had a very good season in the Championship. He has played well for Sunderland. He's not been amazing, but again, I don't necessarily think it was entirely Jack Clark's fault that he wasn't successful. No. I think it is a different time now in Spurs where you can see and again with the kids doing absolute wonders in the PL2 as well. There are going to be some sacrifices. That is without a doubt. All these kids aren't going to get into this team, and I don't want all of them to get into this team. We do need experience, which is why I think looking forward in the striking positions, we maybe look for players slightly older. But when it comes to the ones that, when it fits the system, like I said, I really strongly believe that it isn't just about him being a young, rough diamond, like we said. I do also think his player profile fits the way we want to play football very, very, very well. And that's also an important factor because, like I've kept mentioning, you have to be very specifically technical to play in Ange's system. You have to have roles, and each of those positions have to have specific profiles for it to work. So I think that DM position needs somebody who can move the ball around, win the ball back, alleviate some of that pressure from the defense, and also he can find a pass. He's got a great eye for a pass. So, for me, I can't fault this. I really can't. And if it goes wrong, the kid's 18. I mean, like Sean said, it's not all on him. It isn't all on him.
Let me just get before I get back to you guys. Let me just get Sid's perspective. Sid, we've got more games we're going to be playing next season. We're going to be playing in Europe, so I would assume because of that, there is more game time available for players who maybe didn't get as much last season. I'm specifically referring to younger players because there seems to be a definite sea change towards the type of players that we're actually getting at the moment, barring TW. Because of that fact, would you then say that we are still going to be competitive next season? Because I'm not bothered about how great they look. That's fine. I've seen how we can play, so I don't suspect that we're going to defer too far from how we play. But I do expect Ange to maybe change some of the ways he plays, depending on what competition and where we are. I guess from a a playing perspective, when I say that, is who's injured, who's not. This player now, going to get some games. Do you suspect then that he is going to be starting for us? Is he a definite starter, or would you expect a bit of a transition? And do you expect one of them bigger players to possibly leave? We've talked about Højbjerg, we've talked about Bentancur, Bissouma, Oliver Skip. All these players are probably vying for that sort of position, unless, of course, he does transition to right back. But he's probably got that versatility so that if he doesn't get into midfield, he might be able to appear there. But I'm looking for next season. I want to win something. Is this player going to win me something? Or is this... And if we don't get anybody else in the transfer window, is that going to do it?
I don't think one player wins you the league or cups or whatever. It's a combination of having the players around you that are good enough to go out there and win the cups or win the league. Now, compared to last season, Ange already said he made a mistake in the Fulham game. Should have taken it a bit more serious. We're in the Europa League now, so that's an extra cup. And they're going to be thick and fast, them games. Players, I honestly don't think Ange's just going to play players in the cup games just for the sake of it. He's going to be playing players. Even if they played a PL game, they're going to say, right, you know what, you're going to play. Because he'll want to put the strongest team out. Yes, there was players last season that probably we're now looking at, like you said, Bissoumas, the Skips, Højbjergs, Bentancurs. You never know. One of them or two of them or three of them might even leave. I did watch quite a lot of Gray last season. And I know a few people as well who've talked about him and that. And if you watch the Championship goals and stuff like that, the pundits, everybody's just been raving. And like Darius said, this is a guy that played 40 games, started 40 games, consistently not letting his team down. His performances in every position he was played was spot on, right? Adam Wharton's done the same. He's come in, fires, right? Archie Gray, for me, I think, because from the background he's come from, I think he's got a very, very mature head on a youngster. And I think he'll be waiting to come into this and absolutely kick it and rip up the Prem. And it's possible with the players around him. He's got a manager that he wanted to play for. Celtic connections, fan of Celtic. He obviously, like Sean said, as soon as he picked the phone up and he said, "Hi, it's Angie here," he probably cacked his pants and thought, "Oh shit, he's fucking Postacoglu's on the phone to me. Oh my God." You know what I mean? And he probably just went, yeah, everything, not even ask questions. But just going back to something Darius mentioned, right? And I'm just going to put this up. You know what? 18 years old, right? Look at this. And Darius has already mentioned a couple of them. Where's it gone? Where are you? Right, here we go. I hope it works. Doesn't work. Anyway.
What are you trying to put up?
Comedic
right,
timing.
So,
are you looking at the top 10 18-year-olds?
The wonder kids of 18-year-olds.
Yeah,
the top 10
saw this graphic.
18-year-olds. You've got Estavo. He went to Chelsea for 34 million. Sanchez went to Bayern for 35. Rooney went to Man United for 37 million. Shaw to Man United for 37. Silva to Wolves for 40. Roque, 40 million to Barca. Archie Gray, 41.3 million to Spurs. The next three in order all have gone to Real Madrid. Vinicius Jr., 45 million. Rodrigo, 45 million. And Endrick for 47.5 million. This kid is in there with some of the top.
Is he in their bracket as quality in terms of player?
Listen,
you ain't spending that money if you don't think so.
Exactly. And looking at them players, yeah. Okay, Estavo, I don't know. Sanchez, don't know. Rooney.
He's also meant to be like the next big thing. William Estevao, yeah.
There
Chelsea,
you go. Luke Shaw went from Southampton to
10 years ago, right?
Yeah, 10 years ago. This guy, for him to be put in that bracket at that price, there must be something. Because don't forget, Liverpool, Man U, and Dortmund were looking at him as well.
Dortmund were looking at him, yeah.
Yeah.
So to add on to that, that's brilliant. So this means that it comes with some form of pressure. You know, we see what happens when players get for certain money. you have the pressure. It just comes with the territory, particularly in the Premier League, particularly with the media that we have that works here. I want to see whether or not he can cope with that. That's one thing. Because as a young player, 18 years of age, you can be as mature as you like, but when you come to Spurs, something changes. And we can go through all the list of young players that we've had. We've got the young players that we've got now. There is something at Spurs where I believe it's the actual pressure of playing for the team, not necessarily because it's like a Manchester City or a Chelsea or Man United who's got that winning, but there is a pressure to perform at Spurs given the fact that we consider ourselves to be a big team, and we are, but we still got a way to go to get and bridge that gap with those other teams that I've already mentioned. If we're thinking about Arsenal, and they gave Arteta time. He managed to get players out and in that he wanted. Blah 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 blah. What
Remember
I'm saying,
Gabriel Martinelli, who they signed from Ituano for €6 million.
That's what I've got no problem with the buying process. I've got no problem with getting in these players. I've got no issue. I've said to you before, young players who've got confidence and want to play. I said we should have been playing some of those guys last season because we had an opportunity to do that and didn't take that opportunity to do that at times when I thought we could have. So I believe that those youngsters weren't good enough. This guy must be good enough, as you mentioned already, Darius, and as Sean has alluded to as well. But you need more than just talent. It's more than just talent. The mentality side of things, I cannot give you any more of a what's the word? Emphasis on why I think that is so important, particularly when you come to Spurs, because so many young players have come, not made it, gone.
Dan, do you not think that his whole family being professional football players has a big impact on that?
And not only that, Darius, Leeds is a football club. It's a big football club. And you don't play for Leeds United if you're not good, because the pressure at Leeds United at Ellen Road, them fans are fanatic. Yeah. So in terms of pressure, Sam, I think he's done that at Leeds, because I'm telling you now, and you speak to a lot of players that have played for Leeds, Ferdinand, Cantonas, they've all played for Leeds. The pressure is immense at Leeds United Football Club. Yeah. So he's done that last season. And don't forget, he could have gone to Brentford, played a season or two, made his name, and gone on to a bigger club. He could have gone to a Dortmund after watching Bellingham's and Musiala and Sancho and all them lot. But he's chosen Spurs. And
is this going to be a problem then? This because looking here, this comment from Leslie Crawford: Gray's on 75 per week, the same wage agreed with Brentford, not too shabby for an 18-year-old. So as an 18-year-old who was 17 when he was playing at Leeds, wasn't on 75 grand a week. I could tell you that for facts. I don't know how much he was on, but nowhere close to that. This is a massive jump up, and I keep coming back to the point. I want this player to do well. He needs to be proven. He's unproven at Premier League level, proven potentially at Championship level, but only proven over a season. Football, as we've seen, I was like, Basuma, fantastic. We need him. Come to Spurs, hasn't quite cut the mustard, as we've seen.
He was 26. He was 27.
But the point is, he was more mature. So I'm looking at the age of that player because he should have been hit the ground running. Ndombele, fantastic, brilliant, Champions League, Manchester City, yeah, great, fantastic. Comes to Spurs, doesn't quite do it. 24, 25,
21.
whatever age he was. What age was he when he came to Spurs?
21 when he joined.
He's left at 25.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus
But
Christ.
you're comparing apples with oranges there, Sam.
Yeah, I agree.
Not in terms of mentality. Not in terms of...
Yeah, you are.
No, you are.
Hold on.
Because then Ndombele had that in his background, but we chose to ignore it.
Let me say, when I said about mentality, I don't mean as in they've got the same mentality, but that was the reason why I thought Ndombele was going to be the player at Spurs, because of what I'd seen him do talent-wise. There was no reason for him to come from where he came from to come to Spurs and kind of be in that sort of attitude.
But
Steven Bergwijn's another player.
Only because those guys in the interview said they wanted to play Champions League football. That's what their MO was. That's what they wanted to do. That's why they joined Tottenham. Basuma said that, and Ndombele said that. He said in his first interview for Tottenham, I get going for the big games. The small games, it's hard for me to motivate myself. Red flag should have been boo from there. This for me, it's It ain't the same. For me, it's not the same. I think it's very, very, very different. This. And again, the two things I really want to say really quickly. The one thing on the wages, I think the reason why, again, there was structural payment issues with Brentford and Leeds, but I think the reason why Archie Gray, again, would choose us is because I think we've guaranteed him the minutes. I think we've matched his wages, and I think we said we're going to give you the minutes. And also, my second thing is, this might sound really stupid, but if Dortmund want an English player, you got to open your eyes a little bit, because their track record of English players is very, very good. So I just think there's a lot of Liverpool were linked with him. Like, there's a lot of things that are suggesting to me it ain't like before.
But yet Brentford were the first team to go for him.
But Brentford...
I'm not saying... Again,
this is what
I don't want you guys to think that I don't want to get this player
here.
here.
Brentford had the best chance of getting him because they could guarantee him the minutes.
Right, so Brentford guaranteed him playing football. What I'm trying to say is there shouldn't be a guarantee for him to be playing football at Spurs. There should be no guarantees for any player. That's what I'm trying to say. So there must be some. Hold on. Let me finish my point. So at some point in the negotiations with Ange, they've hijacked the deal, if you want to call it hijack, whatever you want to do. They've obviously offered more money for him to Brentford. He might have been offered more money for a wage. I don't know any of these details because I haven't gone into it in that depth. But there must be a reason why he decided. Obviously, it broke down at Brentford, but nobody else has come in. There must have been a reason what he was told that's going to happen at Spurs. I'm assuming, I'm making assumptions here. We've got European football. We've got these competitions. We want to win something. So you're going to get as much game time as feasibly possible. I'm hoping that that's what's been said to this player and he's made that decision. Because you're right, we haven't got Champions League. But what I did hear in his interview is that he said he wants to be playing Champions League football. He thinks of that on that sort of level, which is fantastic. But we do need to have the support around him to enable this player to develop and also have the confidence to be able to say things like that. Because Maddison was saying things, and what's happened to him? I'm just trying to keep everybody's feet on the ground.
A 3-month injury, though.
Yes, 18-year-old player, when you compare him to 26, 25 established players who are still not quite cutting the mustard at Spurs, I just don't want us to put that same emphasis on him. Yeah, he's coming in, he's fantastic. And then what happens is we have another Steven Bergwijn on our hands. We have another, as I said, Jack Clark. Marcus Edwards. You can go through that list of players who had that talent and haven't quite done it for whatever reason that would be.
I believe, I don't know if I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, Sam, Sean, or Darius. I believe he held talks, everything was agreed, and then that evening, Archie Gray turned around and said, can we put this on hold? So I'm assuming at that point, he's heard, or his agent has informed him, Tottenham and Postecoglou are interested. And I think the moment he heard Ange Postecoglou, like Sean keeps saying, and I said it, that has swung the deal straight away. I think as soon as Ange came in, or the word Ange Postecoglou came in, I think it was a no-brainer for Archie Gray and the Gray family. So I don't know if that's true.
I mean, it strikes me as a very level-headed boy. You know, he's you know, you can't, as Davidson said, you can't undo that family lineage. No. You know, been in the game. His grandfather Eddie Gray and his uncle Frank, and you know they've all played at the highest level. Leeds United should be a Premier League team. Let's not have it. You know, traditionally they were always a top league team. So that, you know, there is pressure there, and you know, from what I understand, I mean, you know, their statement, they were heartbroken that he'd gone. I mean, they were hoping to sell other players, but no one came in for their other players.
The Premier League, would they? He'd definitely not be at Tottenham if they got promoted.
No, if they got promoted, he wouldn't be at us. He'd be at Leeds. And we've used this opportunity to acquire a very, very talented, a generational talent, and you know, a boy that's, you know, is moldable. And I think that's exactly what Ange needs. He needs players that he can mold to play his system. And he, you know, you can see him. I can see him if Pedro Porro's having to have a rest, he's coming in and he's doing the inverted fullback, no problem.
Let me be the first one to say this, right? Grey is the new black.
Oh dear, I was waiting
What
for
Syrian
something.
black?
No grey skies at Tottenham anymore.
I tell you that now. Forget orange is the new black. Grey is the new black.
No, I really do think when it comes to this quality of player, I don't think age matters. I'll be so honest with you. Like I said, I think somebody was it Leslie put about Conor Bradley? Again, the season before he established himself in Liverpool, he was Bolton's player of the season. So, like,
And he came from the Irish League.
So
before
yeah,
that.
exactly.
You know
So
what I
for
mean?
me,
So,
it's it may be pressure, but I think he's one of them players. I think he's inviting that. I think he wants that. I think he wants to start. I think he wants to come in and be a starter. And that DM spot is so open for him. It's his to take. Basuma, I think again, if a bid comes in for Basuma that they like, they're going to entertain it. I really do believe that. And again, we can separate this transfer signing. If you want to include it into the entire window, I'm not going to judge the window now. It's not finished yet. But if it turns out that Archie Gray is the only signing we make, that will be disappointing. However, we've been linked with players like Desiree Doucouré. We've been linked with Pedro Neto. So I don't think it's over yet. I don't think it's over yet, which is why I'm reluctant to. I'm not judging anything yet. I'm judging transfer by transfer. This is a good signing.
I'll ask a question. If the same sort of value, and I think it was about the same sort of value, I might be wrong. Is it the Fulham? Is it Paulinho at Fulham?
Yep. He went for 50 mil.
So would you 50 mil, 40 mil? You know, it's 10 mil difference. Blah, blah, blah.
If he went for 50, it might have been 50 million euros actually. Yeah, I can't remember. I think it's either 50 million pounds or 50 million euros.
Okay, well, 50 million euros and 40 million pounds, because that's what I think it was costing.
No, Archie Gray was 35 million pounds, 40 million euros.
Okay. And I know that the deal for Rodon was separate, and you don't really need to include that. But the reason why this deal got done was 10 for that. So I'm thinking that there was some, you know, you could look at it as being, is he £45 million player? There's separate deals. So let's just try and keep them separate. So let's say 35, but he's 18. Would you have taken him over the Fulham guy? And that's open to everybody. I'm asking everybody here.
Yes.
You know what?
Sean said yes. Sean said
I'm
yes.
Say yes as well.
Darius is saying yes.
What? You take Paulinho over?
I'm asking a question. No. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know because he's incredible.
Honestly,
he is incredible.
Paulinho can only play one position.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting
how old? 26.
Can play right, left, 6, and an 8, and he's only 17, 18 years old. I'd take Archie Gray.
I think I agree.
Because
reluctantly.
He's a Paulinho had a great season.
He's incredible.
The problem with Paulinho is how many games is he going to miss for you? Because he was always picking up yellow cards. Yeah, that was his problem.
I mean, the deal to buy him was done in the previous window.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, it was, you know, in fact, he'd even done the signing photo and what have you. But it was because Fulham couldn't get a replacement. That's why it didn't happen.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm not going to cry over how you're going to buy
I do
him,
think though it's a good debate to have because I was sort of saying, do you get a player who's sort of established, like you're saying, Sam, to play that? Because that's a very important role, that defensive midfield.
We talked about that before. That number 6 position that we talked about. We all, and me and you had that conversation, Darius, that it's so specialist. Yeah. You don't want a player that kind of dips in and out of it. You know what I mean? And the talk at the moment I'm hearing is that they're potentially looking, maybe because of this Dragon that had this conversation with Sid as well. Dragonson might be pushing to get a first team starting place next year or this coming season, which might potentially look at Romero playing in a number 6 position.
No.
These are the conversations that could be had.
Who's saying that?
There's been some talk about that, not necessarily official talk, but there's been talk about that because we know that Dragonson's agent is not going to just say, "Oh, he's had a brilliant Euros. You can sit on the bench for this."
80 million euros and sell him then. Sell him for double what we paid.
No. I don't think we should be selling him. No, we can't.
Well, then that's what I'm saying. This is the thing. Like we say about, there's going to be minutes for everybody. We've got 3 good centre backs.
Anyway, just let me get back to my point before you can go on. Let me just get back to my point. The point would be I think number 6 is a specialist position. I don't just think you can just take somebody and expect them to hit the ground running straight away. you need to develop yourself into that position. Hence the reason why I don't think Basuma's the greatest in that position, because I don't think he's a number 6. We want to play him there as a 6, but I don't think he's the best. Skip, I think that's his best position, but there's attributes that he lacks in terms of pace, maybe getting across the pitch enough at the highest level to be able to play that position for us at the highest level, i.e. when we get to Champions League, Europa, and playing the best teams in the Premier League. I'm now assuming that if this guy is going to be playing a number 6, that he's got all those attributes, which he looks like he has from a physical perspective, pace-wise, passing range, blah, blah, blah. You're telling me that he's got the tackling. I haven't seen a lot of that on YouTube. That's what we need. We need a difference maker in that position if we're going to be a different team next season. That's my only thing. And if you're telling me that he can play right, he can play left, he can do this, not to say that he should be at 18, but it doesn't strike me as being a specialist in any one position. Very good player in positions and can fill in gaps. Is he going to be a gap filler?
He was never meant to play right back. That's all I'll say to that. Is he came in on a technicality, so he is always meant to be playing in that defensive midfield position. So I think it's a testament to him to say that he solidified 2 positions when he wasn't even meant to be playing it, which is why I kind of agree with Sid. I'm not disputing what you said, Sam. I just think that he's that good that I can kind of say, you know what, this kid's good enough to play DM at 18. Like I genuinely think he's that good. So I think if you're mentioning any other player who we're linked with, I could say, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I genuinely, truly think this kid is that good to start for our team in that position. So, yeah. And if we have to play him right back, we know we can. I don't think we necessarily are going to.
Yeah, I had this conversation with my son yesterday or today, and he said Archie Gray is a 6. He wasn't a right back, like Darius said, or a left back. Because of injuries, he was forced to play in them positions, but his natural position is centre midfield.
Yeah. I think he'll play there.
Do you think he's the strongest position he's going to be in midfield, and that's where you expect him to play next season?
Yeah, that's where I expect it. I expect him to be the rocket up Basuma's arse, so if Basuma doesn't shape up,
yeah,
get him gone.
He'll be gone.
Get him gone. And we talked. I even said
last season. I like Basuma, but I mean, I just think, I mean, everywhere. Do you know what's doing me? It's his Instagram page. His Instagram page is doing me because I see Dele Alli sweating his bollocks off at Barnet, trying to get fit to get a deal. You know what I mean? And I'm seeing other players. I'm seeing other players. Actually, before pre-season starts, our pre-season. I think our players are in on Saturday. I think they come in on Saturday.
Oh, really?
So there will be, I want my players to be doing. All I see him is Louis Vuitton and blooming hanging about with, And I'm sorry, Eve. I know you think you're that kind of rap star. You're only in that thing because you're a footballer, and I want to see you playing, sweating your bullocks.
It don't look good when he's not had a good end to the season, does it? I normally don't care about that stuff, but again, it is what it is for me. It's going to just add on to things because for me, he wasn't good. He was not good.
Even Maddison has been doing a pre-season. He's out there with Morgan Gibbs-White, in a base somewhere, trying to get fit before Saturday. Saturday's when he's got to sign back on again.
Do you know what? If we're talking about Biss, right? All I can say is he better shape up, because we've got Gray and my heart is set on him. Biss is going to have a massive summer ahead of him, because if he continues like he did last season, in and out and whatever, I think Biss could be gone. I think Archie Gray could be the replacement for Biss.
Or or Højbjerg gets sold and Basuma is just gonna be on the bench or play in cup games.
Yeah, that's it. Basuma could be this season's Højbjerg.
Yeah.
If I'm honest with you, if I'm brutally honest with you, based on last season, based on some of the attitude that I saw of Basuma, if someone said to me, right, you want to keep him or keep Højbjerg?
Oh, that's a no-brainer.
What?
Højbjerg stays. I'd keep Højbjerg in a whole.
Well, I was going to say, I thought you were going to say the other way around, because I'm saying Højbjerg as well. And I'm not saying that because Højbjerg is a better footballer necessarily talent-wise, but I just think playing what I saw Basuma last season, I was only impressed in those first few games with him.
Mm-hmm.
Then he tailed off. And there was a reason why other teams hadn't come in for him as this big player, because as you said something earlier, he wants to only maybe possibly turn up in the big games, but he didn't necessarily turn up in all the big games that we had last season, which was another concern of mine.
Don't forget, Biz had issues going on at the time as well, didn't they? There was certain things going on in the background, so maybe
why
I don't know.
Issues? Why we seem to have a lot of players with issues. Jed Spence had issues.
Yeah, no.
I mean,
after a
speaking
while.
of issues,
Ryan Sessegnon's come.
If we look, the difference is they were brought in under a different regime.
Understood.
There's much more thorough checking going on into our players.
And I hope that's the case.
Joanne Land and his data team they're all over it. I mean, Joanne Land actually lives in Leeds. So he actually went round to Jed Spence when he was on loan at Leeds and said, fuck your ideas up. Because it was coming back to him that he was, Jed was pulling a fast one. So, I believe in the new recruitment regime. We won't have £100 million to splash on a player. I don't think we're at that stage yet. We're not at that stage yet. But this is about rejuvenating, rebuilding a squad that has been mismatched for 5 years now. For 5 years, we've had a nightmare since Pochettino left in 2019. This is about correcting that,
I'm going to just read out some of this. This is obviously from the first interview that he did. It's obviously a massive club and opportunity that I couldn't turn down. He said, I'm literally excited to play and get started with the team. It still hasn't sunk in, to be honest. I don't think it will for the next few days. Maybe until we played a few games, until I've met everyone, it won't really sink in. I'm really excited and looking forward to it. It's a massive opportunity for me and my family. So I'm really excited. He's really excited. Another thing is it's a massive project under and it's something that I wanted to be part of. I'm not going to lie. I'm a massive Chelsea fan, so I love him. Blah, 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 blah. And people, if you want to read the rest of that, you can go onto Spurs website and see. The fact he's mentioned it's a massive project, not a surprise to me because it is a project. We have to look at this as a project. However, Spurs being Spurs, our fan base being our fan base. And as I said, I don't want to last myself as someone who's going to jump the band or jump on the bandwagon too soon. But our managers don't tend to have a lot of longevity when the pressure starts to be ramped up. At the back end of last season, we saw the potential of what could happen at Spurs if the media gets their way, if things don't quite go his way, etc., etc. Let's talk about if Ange hasn't had a good start to the season this season, that he's possibly by Christmas under a little bit of pressure. Now, he shouldn't be. And if the board and all these people who are involved in everything that we're doing currently do not back this manager and come out publicly and say so or do something to demonstrate that even when things are going a bit rocky, then all of this stuff that he said just goes out the window. Just goes out the window. And I don't want to see changes for changes' sake. Not at all. I want to see a project. I want to see a phase 1, phase 2, however you want to do it. Because this player clearly has come for the manager. He's clearly come for the manager. He's clearly come to play and he wants to see his future at Spurs. But if that changes, how does that change for us?
I think, you know what? You're gonna get them fans. If, like you say, if you don't start off well, you're gonna get fans. But at the end of the day, nothing you can't change. Rome wasn't built in a day. You've got to give him time. Obviously, he's got a plan. He wants to play a certain way. Yes, we all said last season that he needs to have a plan B in certain games, whatever. But we sort of realized now that he wants young players that are going to run fast and be able to recover them. Sort of like Højbjerg can't recover, right? If we're on the halfway line and Højbjerg's there, we're fucked. However, if you've got a youngster
in the nicest possible terms,
yeah. But if you've got a youngster there or somebody like that can do that, that's what Ange's looking for. So he's now looking to get young players that can do that, run up and down. We as Spurs fans have to back our players. And like somebody put it on the group, I can't remember who it was. If he makes a mistake, let him make the mistakes. Let him grow from the mistakes. Don't go hounding him down, haunting him and slagging him off and this, that, the other. And then from slagging the player off, you're going to then slag off the manager, then becomes the chairman, then the coach, then the scouting system. Let him make mistakes. Connor Bradley make mistakes. Adam Wharton makes mistakes. Lewis Miley. Everyone makes mistakes. Rodrigo, all of them make mistakes. But it's how you react, how your fans react, and how the manager reacts to that makes you stronger and better.
It also depends on who you've got around you, because you can make mistakes and then you can go downwards unless you've got the support from senior professionals, good management structure. These are the things that this will support the players. My only thoughts on, and again, Sean's right, it's a new regime now, so I shouldn't necessarily correlate the two, but I can't help it because I've been a Spurs fan for well over 40 years. And what I can see is there is a lot of young players that come in, for some reason, don't get the opportunity, one, but then seem to not flourish. Harry Winks, you love Harry Winks, Sean. He didn't flourish at Spurs in the way he should do. He had to go down to the Championship, play for Leicester, and everybody loves him down at Leicester. And he's probably going to come up with Leicester and play fantastically well.
Don't we play
them?
him? Don't we play him
First
first?
game. Yep.
First game of the season.
We'll see. So we'll see. I want.
Oh my God.
Of course he is. Of course he is.
He's
A lot of players.
so
A lot of players. But I just want to get your final thoughts, because we've done an hour on this, which has been pretty good. I just want to get your final thoughts on how you see the player developing next season based on the current squad that we have. Because as I said, there is winners in there. Romero being a World Cup winner, being one of them. But we have got a lot of also people around there. I like the look of Van der Ven playing for the Netherlands currently.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
good.
He looks like he's got that confidence about it. And I think
he's not starting either, is he?
No, not all the time. But he looks like he's come on a couple of times, I think. But yeah, again, he's shown that even him, he made some mistakes last season. It takes a lot in that position, particularly defensively as well, to be able, because it's all right if you're in front of goal, you miss a couple of goals. Yeah, you do get grief as a goal scorer, you get pressure, but you know, your last line of defense, that's why the goalkeeper position is so important. And hence the reason why Fikayo is getting so much, you know, not necessarily abuse, but people are looking at him in certain times and certain aspects of it. As your final thoughts, is this player going to get that development, going to get that support from the players that we currently have? Or do we need to bring somebody else in, another senior professional, and who might that be? So there's a lot of questions in there, but just answer how you feel. I'll start with you, Darius, and then move on to you, Sean, and then Sid can end it for us.
Yeah, I'll be brief. Honestly, like I said, I think people know what my opinion of this player is. I will not go and pretend like I knew about him at the start of the season. I know this is his first season playing. Heard things, whatever. Did my research. I watched the full game of Chelsea versus Leeds, and I watched many highlights. And again, I think everything suggests to me that this kid's going to come in and he's going to develop. And I think by the end of the season, he will be our established deep line midfielder in front of the two 8s that we play. And I just think that profile wise, professionalism wise, I think he's got the right head on his shoulders. Like, I do think that he's just, I think we really have, we found one. I think we found one. That's all I'll say to that. I really do think we found one, a special player. So yeah, let's just hope that he can, take it in his stride, carry on playing the way he's playing. And yeah, as long as he does play in that defensive midfield position, I don't want him to be a right back, even though, like we said, he can do it. Don't want him to be a right back. Only if worst comes to worst, should we be playing him. So yeah, I think for me, we found one, and I hope that he can live up to our expectations.
Loads of people watching, nearly 100 of you watching at this present time. Can you all do me a favor? Hit that like button immediately. Do that now. That will help us. Do that now. It will help yourself. You feel better about yourself. Do it now. Comment, subscribe to the channel. PRTV Spurs, as I mentioned before, we're going to be live on there. We are live on there now, but live content will only be on there from August the 1st. So make sure you do that. Hit the like button. Don't forget. Sean.
I was going to share something myself here. Let me just see if I can get this up on the screen.
The suspense.
No. It's oh, can you see that?
Oh yeah, I
Can you
like
see
this. I've seen this.
Yeah. Now look at the age profile of the team that we're building. Now, how many of those players have been through a season with Ange? We've got Van der Ven, we've got Johnson, we've got Dragusin's done half a season, Papassar's done a season, Adobe's done a season, Scarlett's been there or thereabouts. So all these players are going to be part of the future. They're all going to fit into Ange's system. I think we're building for now and we're building for the future. So I think I'm confident that we've got ourselves an absolute diamond with Hazy Gray. I'm looking forward to going to see him next season in the stand, and long may he reign.
Yeah, nice bit of visual there. I like that. You ain't got that visual, have you, Sid? Nah, you ain't got that. I'm taking the piece. I'm taking.
I ain't got
That
that.
was
It doesn't-
Sid's
so
always got
unnecessary.
no, but Sid's the visual man. He's always got you kept cutting this and I just said, he's always doing me in, making me look bad with my little shit stuff. That's what I was.
That wasn't to make anyone look bad. I just wanted to show you
Yeah.
what's being achieved. We're rejuvenating our team.
I like
There's lots of players to go out.
I like
And we're built. Man City have a core of 16 players, don't they? They don't have 2 players for each position. They don't have 22 players. They have 16 or so, and that's what we need to do. We're not there yet. We're not there yet. There are players to come in. There were players to go. I mean, who knows? After the little contretemps between Son and Bentancur, maybe Bentancur is sold. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I have a feeling. That might be the case, but we'll see.
We'll see.
Listen, who once said you don't win anything with youngsters, eh? You remember that quote many years ago?
Exactly.
You don't win anything with youngsters. But no, do you know what? It's a great signing. It's an absolute great signing, because if we hadn't have got him, somebody else would have got him, and then we would have gone round and said, "Oh, for fuck's sake, another one we missed the boat on." But we've got him in now. Now we've just got to back the player. And if he's confident enough to come in and play, and he wants to play, he's already said that. So we've just got to wait now until the first game of the season, see what happens, and we've just got to back the team. I mean, I still don't think the transfer window's finished for Spurs. I think there's still some more activity to happen, whether it's outgoings and incomings, but I think so. I think it is. We'll see. We will see.
Anybody want to just deal with this before we go? What's your opinion, if it's true, on Man City and Man United having made offers to Mikey Moore? I haven't heard about it, so I don't. Nobody wants to comment. If that is the case, then we should not be accepting any offers for him from those teams.
No,
he's one player for me. Give him whatever he wants. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, and good luck to Man United and Man City to deal with Daniel Levy then.
Yeah,
we can't be.
Well, the thing is, he can't sign a contract until he's 18, so
that's right.
We're in a difficult position there, but we need to,
if they throw money at it, like you said, if they throw money at it, it could be a problem. It could be a problem.
It could be a problem, man.
That kid is generational.
Yeah, but the problem then is Mikey Moore is obviously it's going to be down to him. Does he then take that step and maybe not get anywhere? But then again, the problem with Spurs is we don't tend to bring in the youngsters as well, innit? So
if he wants to start, you got to let that kid start, because that kid.
That's what I'm saying.
This is what I'm saying. You have to give these days. You have to give these youngsters an opportunity,
because they see Yamal doing that. Like Sean said, you see Lamine Yamal doing it at the same age.
I know. This is my disappointment for last season. Only a tinge of disappointment, because we had opportunities to play these players, and we still saw the likes of Brian Gill. We still saw the likes of Emerson Rowe. I know they're supposedly more professional, have been there longer, but I don't want to see him. Manor Solomon, what's happened to him? I don't know what's going on. Again, the comparison I'm going to make with Archie Gray with regards to a player that had this massive potential, and he even had a bit more potential because he'd already played in the Premier League, was Ryan Sessegnon. Now, personality-wise, he might be completely different, because I didn't think that he was the personality that we required at that time. but he certainly had that bags of potential. Everybody was talking about Ryan Sessegnon being their player from Fulham. So again, it can be that potential is realized, or it could be that potential is not realized in some cases that we've seen. And I'm going on the fact that I've seen less realized potential at our club than realized, if that makes sense. And that's why I'm just kind of said,
you can't forget the Gareth Bales and the Kyle Walkers of the world.
You can't forget but look what Gareth Bale's done. He's proven. Kyle Walker, proven. They've gone and proven themselves at that level. So we didn't really make too many mistakes.
They learned their stuff at our place.
Correct. But when we talked about Gareth Bale, he wasn't at that time. There was ums and ahs, but you could see it as soon as he was given that real opportunity to play that he was going to develop. And then when he did, he just went on. I'm hoping that this is the same for this player here, that we give him the opportunities, we support the player well enough that he can go on and kick on. And maybe Real Madrid are coming for him. Only joking. Leslie Crawford, he can't sign a professional contract. He's saying that's Mikey Moore we're talking about.
I am worried about that. I am very worried about that.
What?
If we play him now and he starts having blinders, Cities will offer him like dumb money.
The danger.
The kid is generating. You should have seen what he did in that under-17s World Cup. Him and Ethan Ranieri were just killing it, absolutely killing it.
What I'm saying is, if he has got the football royalty in terms of who's bringing him up, then the money side of things shouldn't be really bothering him.
No, I'm talking about Mikey Moore.
Mikey Moore.
Yeah, I'm talking about Mikey Moore.
I don't.
I'm worried about that, just because if he does play well, if we give him game time at 16, 17, he plays well. Who is to say that Man City don't say, you know what, kid?
Come, even Dortmund, because
Dortmund is going.
I think I would. I think if it's the two, I think I'd be more worried about Man United.
Yeah,
because historically they've brought kids through, haven't they? I mean, that's where that expression, don't win things with kids, that kind of. I don't think Man City would be a good move for Mikey Moore, even now. No, I think it would be because I agree with I mean, lots of talent are being burnt in Man City, aren't they?
I completely agree with that. If your Mikey Moore's going to be going up against Haaland, and Alvarez is still there currently, isn't he not?
He wants to leave though.
Yeah, but he wants to leave, but he's still there at the moment. If you're 16, you're not going to get a game at City for now. But potentially looking what Man United do, Højlund playing at the moment, who's 18. They've got Garnacho on the left-hand side. They're playing 18-year-olds, 17, 18, 19-year-olds.
Look at Maino doing really well with the Euros, isn't he?
Exactly. Maino playing in midfield. So, there is that. So, we just need to see what these players are like. I hope they get opportunities. They should get opportunities, all the youngsters. Now, 95 of you still here. Hopefully, you've all hit that like button. Those of you that have transitioned in, make sure you do the same thing. Comment, subscribe. Thank you for all the comments that we've got from Jews Nuts. Leslie Crawford always saying Jews Nuts a little bit carefully. Inner Hype is there. Leslie Crawford, Jimmy Hotspurs, I've mentioned before. Good Beats. OC Butter Cameron, obviously. Donna Cullen. Wagwa, Mr. Sam. I'm good. Woo! Anything else, people? Or is that it for now? That's all you need to do. What?
I don't care about England.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You was cheering as much as me when they scored that goal late on. Come on.
Nah. No. All I was saying is I cheered at the Bellingham goal because that was a worldie. But I came back to reality when I saw Eze and Saka playing left back and right back. Like, what we doing, so. Yeah. Switzerland will do us in if Xhaka masterclass incoming. That's all I'll say.
Has Conor Gallagher done anything to say we should have him?
No.
Oh, and yeah.
I told you, man. Told you about Conor Gallagher. I told you. No one wanted to hear me. And you're going to trigger me now. I'm not going to do that because I've been calm and I'm going to stay calm.
Good luck
I've
to him.
I've not heard anything from Conor Gallagher, so I'm happy at the moment. But
good luck to him, though, because he wants to see his contract out for a final year. And
that's what he should do.
He was hoping that he was going to put in a top performance in Euros and get a banger deal in the next season. Well, that probably ain't going to happen now, is it?
Well, put it this way: if he was looking to move now, I wouldn't be too keen. I'd just wait for him to be on a free. If it was me buying him, I'd just say, "Well, you're decent. You're not that great, but I'll wait to get you on a free. Not gonna make that much difference to me this season, mate. And I'll pay you next season." Germany won the 7th Cup. The top scorer is good for a move from Dortmund. Paris Brunner. I don't know if that player. Is a player?
Don't know, but I'll do my research.
Okay, that's it. Go on,
We
Sean.
need
What
you
you
and
gonna
Jack
say?
to get together again, Darius.
Yeah,
we do need to see that.
yeah.
Make sure, people, you join us again for our next discussion about our next signing. When that will be, it's going to be Eze, isn't it?
No, I think it's going to be this kid from Rennes. I think it's going to be this kid from Rennes.
Do it.
Yeah, do it. He's a baller though.
He
He's
can play.
good. You know, he's good.
Yeah, I can say.
Like I said, if the profile fits, I don't care who it is. I really don't. That's all I'll say. Let's go.
Enough. Let's go. So again, thank you, Darius. Thank you, Sid. Thank you, Sean. He didn't want to leave me on my own. And
Yeah, no, Sean came in clutch there. I have to thank you for that, Sean.
I can do the freeze, man. I can take freeze. I'm all right. I'm all right. Big up, Luca, AFC. Thank you, Luca. Our resident Arsenal fan who doesn't mind us, which we don't mind as well. If you
He's infiltrating. He's trying to get the Archie Gray.
Now Luca likes us secretly. You do like. What's he saying now? Wow, 20. No, there's more people than that because we're on X, we're on all kinds of things, and we're everywhere. But he's saying he's good.
We've even got a Twitch channel, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, yeah, no, thanks for
I'm reading the private message that Sid sent. I'll talk to you. That is it. I think let's go to the what do you want then? What do you want to take us out? Drill, innit? It's gotta be drill, innit? And that's what I'm saying about Sid, because Sid did that. I should have done that because I like that. But I didn't. Anyway, that's enough. Come on, you Spurs. Thanks again. We get the comment off before I do the drill music because you know I mean it's got to be professional. Last few comments, sorry. Due liked great post at joining Spurs. He's next. Ooh. Inside information from Leslie Crawford there. Due's hyped as a future Mbappe type player. Hold on. Oi,
that's a bit crazy, but yo, he is ridiculous. He's got.
I hope we do some research into his background.
Maybe we should do that.
Yeah. Let's not get another Ndombele.
Facts. I'm paying 200 grand a week. No, thank you. That's it. Drill music time, and we are out.